welcome to the Book Over, a little book club where we talk about books, especially the ones that give us book hangovers. I'm Sarah, and with me is Bree.
Hi.
And today, what are we doing today? Today we are talking about The Birthday Girl. It's just called Birthday Girl. Sorry.
Just Birthday Girl.
For our pool party theme. Yay, pool party. And this one's by Penelope Douglas, if you don't know. And it came out a while ago, like 2018, I believe was it. And it took me a long time. I didn't read it until last year, I think.
I read it. I think my Goodreads said I read it in 2020.
Okay.
So yeah.
So, and Bree and I were just talking about it because I picked this one to go along with our pool party, and it's like, you think of pool scenes and like the cover. I have like the paperback, like the cover has like
a chick in a pool.
So you think like pool scenes would be really like prominent, and they are, but they aren't. Like, how do you say that?
There is a pool and people do get in it, but it's not always the couple of the book.
Right? Yeah. I feel like there's some good scenes in it. But let's talk about the book. We'll get to those scenes. So I have to say before we start talking about it is I like this book because of the age gap to it and how the way it's written to get them to being together. Like there is a lot of fighting what they want to do the right thing.
Yes, and I think that's the way an age gap should be, because it's not easy to be in an age gap romance. I mean, I've never been in one, but like it's not like something that you could just like step up and do, know, like, so it's like it's gonna take some work to get there. So like I feel like if you're gonna do an age gap, you have to do it the right way. In this book, it did it. It like there was a lot of build up and like lots of like moral conversations of, is this right? Is this not right? So yeah. I thought that was really good about this.
Yeah, I liked that, and I liked that I liked how they met. So they meet at a movie theater. She goes at the end of work. Her boyfriend didn't pick her up, and she's like, I'm gonna go see the movie. And then she meets a guy in the movie theater accidentally, and like they just kind of hang out and talk a little bit beforehand and afterwards. And like there's like they click, like he's like easygoing and she just feels like comfortable, and like
they like a lot of the same things, like they're into the same kind of movies, and like they just had a really good vibe at the very beginning,
right? And then all of a sudden, like her boyfriend calls her and hangs up and calls him, and then like thoughts get put together, and he's like, you're like, so he had a son young, and so she is dating his son, and it's like I can feel it. I can feel the disappointment like roll off
on both ends of it. Like there's
yeah.
definitely like both of them felt the same way, like that there was a vibe and like they were meshing really well, and they were like, oh, that guy's here. He exists.
Right? Yeah. So I felt really like, I think without that first scene, I don't know if I would have like really like been like, yes, you guys need to be together. But like,
yeah, I mean, if they would have met through the sun, no, like that. I mean, like I'm fine with like breaking up and like not being with the right person, but like a dad stealing a chick from his son, that's a little bit low. Right. But it didn't really happen that way. Like the son kind of brought everything that happened to him upon himself.
He did.
Cole was not a nice guy.
But
he wasn't.
He gets there though. So I actually have a note about Cole. So Cole's the son. He's the boyfriend that turns into the ex-boyfriend. And I was thinking about him, and I'm like, I actually really like where he ends up. So he basically, like, I feel like Jordan's the leading female lady, whatever you want to call her. I feel like she and Cole ended up together because they had a best friend who passed away. So they like bonded over that trauma.
Yeah. And it was like a relationship of, just like circumstance, and not really, because they were meant to be together. Like it just so happened that way. And they had like, a similar sadness going on. And those relationships just typically don't don't work out in the
Right?
end.
And he wasn't treating her right, and she's like, "I know it," but she was so used to people not treating her right or not caring about her that, like, she didn't know any different.
She was so mature for her age, and he was so immature for his
Mhm.
age. So,
Yeah,
like, I mean, it just was not like, they were on 2 like, even though they were around the same age, they were on 2 totally different, like,
yeah.
life stages, really. I mean, because he kind of was always used to having someone coming in and saving him,
Mhm.
and she never had anyone that came in and saved her. She always kind of had to, like, pull herself up, so
Yeah.
they weren't right.
They weren't right, and there were so many scenes that showed that too, where, like, they lose their apartment because of him, and then they move into the dad's house, which is great, but then he's not helping out like he's supposed to be, helping with chores and stuff to, like, earn their keep, and he's not doing his part, so
Yeah, he's not
she's
doing
doing
his
it.
yeah.
Yeah, which I love. There's that's one of the pool scenes. So there's a scene where Pike, I love that name, and it
Patty
totally
Pike.
so, I don't know. Have you ever seen like it's early 90s, late 80s movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it has Luke Perry
Mm.
in it, and his name's Pike. So whenever I hear, I mean, like, so I always correlate it to him, and it totally
Yeah.
fits Pike too. Like, I just like so, like, I always love that name. Anyway, so um Cole doesn't do he's supposed to mow the lawn, he's not doing it, so then Jordan does it, and Pike sees her doing it and gets all he's kind of distracted by her mowing the lawn, and then she decides, she's so hot, she decides to jump in the pool,
Mhm.
and he gets upset because the creepy neighbor
The
guy is
creepy
like
neighbor is
watching her.
watching her, and then that's when he knew that, like, there was some jealousy there, and,
Mhm.
like, he was feeling more for her than he had intended
Yeah,
to.
he did not want to, and I love he fought it so hard, and his best friend, and I can't think of his best friend's name right now, gave him such a hard time about it. He knew, he could tell, and he like gave there's so many times he was like would make comments or say something because he saw the little things that both of them were doing and how they interacted together.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he knew, he was like, "This is not how you should interact with your son's girlfriend, bro, like,
yeah,
like, this is just not how you act with your son." Like, he was accusing him, and I think he kind of, like, I don't feel like he was, like, offended by it, or, he didn't like it. He just was, like, wanting Pike to confront his feelings more than I mean, as a best friend does.
yeah,
I think it came from more of a place of, like, "Come on, bro, just, like, admit that you like Jordan." Like,
yeah. Well, and he was
that's
also like, but he wasn't for them to be like long term. He was like, have your fun, do what you
yeah,
need to do, and move on. Once he found out that Cole and Jordan broke up, he was like, just
yeah,
like, dude, like, it's
do
okay. Just do
yeah.
it and move on, though. And that part was hard for me because I'm such a romantic. Shocker.
Yeah, I know, like, none of this stuff should be for fun, this should be for, like, long terms.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, it was just fun. And then there's a scene of Pike and Jordan in the shower, and he's over, and then he's like, "Oh, da da da," and then he's like, "Hi, Jordan." It's just like through the door, like, they're trying to
And
hide that
because her
she's in
clothes
there
are
with
on the
him.
floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. He was like, "I'm taking a shower, leave me alone," and then he was like, "Well, tell Jordan to pick her clothes up when she gets out," or something, like, he made, like, a little joke, and I
Yeah.
love that scene.
Yeah. There
My
was
other
oh,
favorite
mhm.
Oh, go ahead. You can go
No,
ahead.
go, 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 go.
Oh, I was gonna say my other favorite scene is when he buys Jordan the cake, and he gets, like, so insecure about it, like, he thinks it's, like, the dumbest thing he's ever done in his life. Like, 'cause he's a mature man, like, he's a grown up, and, to know that, like, he was still, like, second guessing the cake, like, I just thought it was so
So
and
sweet.
cute.
That was what I was gonna say, actually, and I love the part where she goes so they're having a party, her and Cole, and then down the basement, Pike has his buddies over for poker night. So she goes down to the basement to get something out of the cooler, like I don't know what to call them. Like,
Like
it's the cooler you hide the bodies
the
in.
deep freezer thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you mean.
And then so she's like leaning over the edge, like dating around looking for popsicles or something, and like so her butt's like up there, and the guys are like silent, and Pike's trying not to look, and he's getting pissed that his friends are looking. And then she asked about the cake, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's not for him. Like, it was just, yeah, his
It
insecurity
was
from
it was
it.
just so cute, and she, like, was like, he was so worried about it, and she loved it, like, that was probably the first time anybody had gotten her. I don't
That's
remember
what
if she
she
said
yeah,
that,
you
but,
said that. Yeah, it was the
like, it
first.
was the first time any and, like, that means a lot to say like, I've read I don't remember in what books, but I've read several scenes where kind of people get their first birthday cake, like, a la
Yeah.
Harry Potter, you know? So it's like,
Um,
I just think those like, when somebody does something for somebody for the first time, like, those are always gonna be my favorite, like, I
right.
love it so
Well,
much.
and then she's big on the wishes, right? So, like, she
Mhm.
in the
With the
movie theater, he has the
candle.
match for the candle when he finds out it's a birthday, and then, like, this one, he leaves the poker party to go upstairs and, like, and has the candle, and, like, there's always candles, and she always makes the wish when she blows out a candle, because why not
Mhm.
take every opportunity? And it's just this
I love that.
yeah. And then her wishes are always really sweet ones, like, just, like, to have tomorrow be, just as good as this day or better, kind of thing, and it's yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, I
she's
mean, she's just
sweet.
such a, like, a sweetheart, really. I mean, like, like, anybody that grew up in her situation, like, it coulda went either way, I mean? And then the whole stripper thing with her sister and how Pike gets so jealous over the
Mhm,
thought of her becoming a stripper, like the wet t-shirt scene, that was
mhm.
another one of my favorites because like, I feel like she really pushes him to come to terms with, like, how he feels about her because she knows.
Yeah,
She knows that, like, they're
she
feeling
pushes
each
him
other
hard.
and he needed it because if nobody was pushing him,
He wouldn't.
he probably wouldn't be together,
Yeah.
like, he was he and, like, you can't fault him for it because he was really just trying to be a good dad,
Mhm.
like, more than anything, like, Cole's mom could spin Lindsay, I think her name was, could
Yeah.
spin whatever story, but, like, you really see that
Mhm.
I mean, since he was, what, 18 years old, he's tried his best to be a good father to
Good
Cole,
father, yeah.
and, like, I think that's, like, where a lot of his issues with his relationship with Jordan came from, but,
And there was times where he, like, let it go, right? He's like, "Oh, we'll do this," and, like, just for the night, and,
Mhm,
and then it's like you feel bad for him because he's trying to be that good dad that he's always tried for, and then Cole's been told all these awful stories by his mother, so he's not
mhm.
a fan of his dad, which is even more sad, and it's
I
like,
know, yeah,
ugh. But
it's hard.
it is. It was really hard, but, like, what I loved is, like, how, like, there's a part in the book so Cole ends up making bad choices. He ends up cheating at the house in the pool, and Jordan comes home and sees it. And then Pike sees her seeing it, and he, like, runs out and, like, kicks them all out. And then it's just like a mess. And then he ends up leaving. But, like, what I like is there's, like, a scene where he comes back and he's, like, worried. He's, like, worried about Jordan. And
Mhm.
then he's also, like, worried about his dad actually being, taking care of himself and, like, not being
That's
lonely.
when you
Like,
start to see, like, a little bit of, like, character progression for him,
mhm,
it's because he finally did his, like, first selfless thing probably ever.
yeah.
Like, it that's when you kind of start to see a change in Cole, and then, you see a big one by the ending, and I wrote on my notes that, like, I would love to one day get a Cole story.
Me too.
Usually I don't ask for that, but on this one, I just like even like a little novella or something, like, I would
Yes,
like to see because he has a happy ending
I
somewhere.
know. Yeah. Well, you find out so he goes in the military, which is he needed that. He needed
Needed
to
it.
move
So
on
yeah.
from all of his issues. And then you have the epilogue. I almost called it prologue. Sorry.
Yeah.
And you know that because so you know that he's married and he has kids. You know that he's getting his what he needs and he's happy now. So it's like I would love to get
Just like a little,
yeah,
a little clip of it, just like how
yeah,
he gets that, like how long does it take and,
yeah.
just like how does he meet her? Like I just think it would be like kind of just I don't know if anyone did have any negative feelings about the dad stealing his son's girl, like maybe just like to kind of settle everyone's thoughts,
Yeah.
if they weren't
Well,
already settled.
I never disliked Cole. That was the thing. Like, I didn't like how he treated her, but I never saw him as like a fully horrible guy, right? Her
Yeah, no, he
ex
wasn't.
really bad,
Mhm.
but he wasn't like
He was immature at the
he
end of
was
the day.
immature. And even Jordan was like, I don't actually hate him. Like, and she's like, that shows how much I cared about him. It's like, I'm not that upset about this. Like, I'm just upset like he did what he did,
Yeah.
like so like, and that's kind of how it was written in a way where I felt the same way. I'm like, I felt for Cole and I could tell he had issues and he needed to like figure out his life. So
Mhm.
that's why I'm like, I need to like, I want to see that like part of
A
his.
full circle, like just get like the details behind the happy ending
Yeah.
making. Like I
Yeah.
think that would be really nice to see.
So should we talk about so there's a part where like basically Pike and Jordan, are they even together? Like I think that at one point they were calling each other like together, like boyfriend and girlfriend, and then they break up because, Pike's worried about his son and all these
Yeah.
things. Yeah. And Jordan's like, so Jordan leaves and she disappears. And no one will tell Pike where she is.
And
He's
he
like,
hates it. Like
yeah,
he's going to hit her sister, like going around like asking everyone, like, please tell me where she is. Like and I don't think he like necessarily, he wasn't trying to like win her back at that point. I think he just really wanted to know that she
mhm,
was okay.
yeah,
And then I think eventually like he just breaks, and that's when like, I think her sister might have like gave him like a clue, like, oh, she's in Virginia or wherever it was, and like he's going to every single hotel trying to find where. I thought that was really sweet
yeah,
too.
yeah. I
And
love
I like books when they go away for a few months, just because like people can't just like do things to you and you get over it in like a week. So like I like the storyline of like, like the time jump, and like this is 6 months later,
mhm,
and you know, they're gone and
right.
everyone gets to work on themselves privately, because it doesn't always happen
Right.
in
You need
like some
time. I feel
do.
like as a human, you just need time, especially for him. He needed to
Mhm.
make sure his son was okay, and then he needed to realize that he didn't need to form to like a certain column in society's, this
And
is
I
what it should be, you
Yeah,
know?
and I think Jordan needed to have some independence, because she basically went from living at her parents' house to living with Cole to living with Pike. So like I feel like she kind of needed, just like a little bit of time to like evaluate her own independence and just realize, what it's like to be out on your own,
Yeah.
and do things for a few months. Like I thought that was I love when there's time jumps, honestly. Like they just make me happier than just like a instant reconnecting.
I always get mad when they get together. Like there's a big thing and they're like, okay, I believe you, or okay, I forgive you. And it's like, no,
No.
you can be mad. You can need space. Like it's
Yeah.
not like I get it, it's romance, but it's like
Let's be realistic
yeah,
here.
yeah,
Just like, because if somebody did some of these things that these people do to each other, like I probably would never get over it, let alone get over it in like 2 weeks or two
mhm,
days or 2 hours.
yeah.
And I mean, like, I understand for the sake of time, but like, you don't have to tell us everything they did in the 6 months that they took apart.
No, no.
Like,
Well, and
not,
that's what I like too. Like, and she literally tells him, she's like, what took you so long? Like, because she was waiting for him to figure out his stuff and to come
Mhm.
get her. So, and I liked that he finally did that. And I liked that it's tied into, I don't know, like, did you hear that Penn is working on possibly writing a book based on like the motel owner and the guy that shows up?
Oh, I kind of felt like that, and I was like, maybe it's already out, and I just don't know what
It's
book it
not.
is. But I was thinking that, and I was like, oh, is that like a just like a little Easter egg? Or oh, okay, I will want to read that, because I was like,
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what book it was, and I couldn't like.
It's not out yet. So she actually,
Okay.
it was supposed to be out already, you guys. And then she just announced in May that she wrote, you can go on her website or on her Facebook group and find it. There's a link to the first chapter.
Mm,
However, she spent 6 months writing this book and she hated everything, or she really disliked what she was writing. And she's learned that if she doesn't like what she's writing, then the book's going to flop. So she's like pretty much scratched it and is going to wait until she's feeling it some more to like write more.
okay.
But she's like, I know all of you have been waiting for this. And like she was gonna have like a cover reveal and this like out already this year. And it's just like, and I love it when authors are just like upfront about stuff like that. And like, I'm not feeling it. I don't like the work I'm doing. Like, I'm not gonna do it right now and wait for it. Which
Yeah.
my favorite books are the ones that have been passion projects and the ones that like people are like, I'm doing it
Mhm.
for me. So but I'm excited. I just found this like last night. So I'm like, I haven't read that chapter yet, but I'm really excited because I'm really intrigued on
Yeah.
like
You
how
could
cool.
definitely like, you just got the vibe that like there was gonna be
Yeah.
something. Like I felt it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I just missed it, but now
Yeah.
I know. So I'm probably gonna read the first chapter, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep an eye out for it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. I liked, yeah, I want more cool. And I liked for me, It's very slow burn, you guys. So it takes a lot to get like any like steam really. But I liked the angst of it because I love that like feeling of like, should we, shouldn't we? And like, oh, I kind of have these feelings. But for me, it was like it was a little on the slower side. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
and it was
not
very like mild in my opinion. Like I've read some stuff, but this was kind of just like, like if you gun to your head have to recommend a book to someone, like a coworker or a friend, it's like, oh, you love reading. What do you want to read? Like I feel like this one I would feel safe saying to
yeah.
someone.
This is a
There's
good
some books I would
tip your
not feel safe.
toes in too.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you're looking for something with a little like a little smutty, a little
Yeah, but
taboo,
not like
realistic though. Here you go.
yeah. It's definitely one that like I feel safe like telling my friends about, Like there's some that you'd have to kill me to get it
I know.
out of my mouth. But this one I could tell people about it.
Right. Yeah.
And every once in a while, like I love a good like it doesn't always have to be like medium fast burn. Like I love a good angst every once in a
Too.
while.
Me too.
Like
I really do too. Yeah. Anyways. Okay.
thanks.
Well, I hope everyone who has read Birthday Girl rereads it. And if you haven't, then spoilers and go read it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, happy pool party with it. All right. We'll see you guys next time on the book over. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.